The right to vote has cost us a lot, and that price was and is enormous for marginalized groups. The US government denied Indigenous Americans the right to vote for the majority of the country's existence. As a matter of fact, the government didn't consider Indigenous Americans born in the United States to even be full US citizens until the Indian Citizenship Act of 1924. And before that, the federal government only granted citizenship to Indigenous Americans who agreed to give up their resources and homeland. But not even full citizenship guaranteed them voting rights, since individual states determined who could vote. And so, of course, throughout the country, state officials used racist tactics to deny Indigenous Americans their constitutional right. Some states barred them from voting well into the 1960s. The government had labeled various groups of Indigenous Americans as wards of the state, claiming they didn't deserve full rights. Imagine being forced onto reservations, stripped of your land, and then told you don't count as a citizen. But you know Indigenous Americans were not going to accept that, right? In 1948, the state of New Mexico denied Miguel Trujillo, a Marine veteran and member of the Pueblo tribe, the right to vote because they said he did not pay taxes. Trujillo took them to court and he won, advancing the voting rights of Indigenous Americans in New Mexico. Although there were many wins along the way, there are still barriers to voting in Indigenous communities today. Go look up how far election day polling sites are from Indigenous communities. Or look up the new voter ID laws that require voters to provide an ID with a street address. And many Indigenous Americans on reservations do not have one, effectively silencing their vote. From Marie Louise Bottineau Baldwin to Gertrude Simmons Bonin to Carlos Montezuma to the grassroots movements of today, Indigenous American activists have fought and will continue to fight for suffrage rights and recognition for their community. And their blood, sweat, and tears are the price they pay so that their voices and cultures won't be erased. Why does this matter? Well, the right to vote, it isn't always easy to come by, so none of us should take it for granted. Use your power.